You could ask that question, what does it take to be a 5-star, 5-diamond chef? It takes a lot of things. You can't be just a good cook. You have to be a good tactician. You have to be a good psychologist. You have to be a good financial person as well. You have to know so many things to be a good chef. If you can only cook, you can't be a great chef, because if you can't be profitable for your business, then you're not going to be a business. Therefore, you won't be a chef in that place anymore. But Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day was always fun. Holidays where we as chefs can highlight and showcase our talents and blow people away. So one of my favorite meals has been, of course, Thanksgiving. I've got multiple reasons for enjoying it, but it's such a feast and it's so family oriented. Getting all the people together is a great time. With things that I have a hard time living without is a mandolin, the Japanese mandolin. Great saute pans. Well, a great set of knives. Things that I really enjoy working with are things that are technical, like say for example a foie gras torchon. It's 4 or 5 day process, making sausages, things of that nature, but those aren't things that we can do at home because we don't have those facilities. But I like things that you can't do at home, so you come see me. It was phenomenal for stone fruit. Peaches, nectarines, pluots, all phenomenal, all great. It was to the point where I didn't even want to put any heat to them for desserts or for salads or anything. I just wanted to serve them raw because the sugar content was great, the texture was awesome. Big disappointment this year, watermelons. Did you have a good watermelon this year? I didn't. You know, the only ones I had that were good were from the farm. And that's Chino Farm here in San Diego. Apples are one of my favorites to work with in the fall. The root vegetables, of course, squashes. It's going to change, and food changes with the seasons. You know, I like the summer because I like to eat light and cook light, and it's more conducive to the way I eat and cook. Winter is more about braising. Fall and winter are more about braising, heavier meals. But even with the heavier meals, I still lighten it up with raw product. I do a lot of raw stuff in my food too, which is better for you, I think. Anything that gets local produce is probably your best bets. Farmers markets, still the best. It varies. Sometimes I'll be sleeping and I'll wake up in a dream with food and I write it down. Sometimes when I was younger, it used to be in cookbooks. I'd get the cookbooks and then manipulate it to my own happiness. But now it's more about going to the markets and seeing what's available, going to the farms and seeing what's available, and then making my menus around. One of the ways I like to bring out flavor in tomato, which is a great time of the year for this, is I like to do tomato confit. And it's a little different than most people do because I didn't like seeing all the energy wasted at the restaurant or hotel. And you've got your heat lamps all day long. So what I would do is I would get the season's best little cherry tomatoes, currant tomatoes, soak them in oil, put a little bit of thyme on it, put a little bit of garlic on it, a little cracked pepper. Because I can't use salt here, I can't use salt. But salt doesn't work anyway because it'll burst the skins. But what you do is you cover it in oil, put a little plastic wrap on, and I put it underneath the heat lamp. And it'll be about half an hour, 45 minutes or so. They start to warm up and soften up, and then they cook in there super slow in that oil, and it flavors the oil, it flavors the tomatoes. The tomatoes get this cool texture inside. It's like eating a burst of tomato flavor. So the skin holds the pulp inside, but the pulp changes cellularly. It turns into a liquid. And so what happens is you put it in your mouth, you get this warm tomato in your mouth when you're expecting cold, and it's this warm, like tomato soup encased in its own skin. It could be like, you know, I guess molecular gastronomy does things like that, but this is nature's molecular gastronomy.
How would somebody do it at home?
What you can do at home is you can turn your oven on to about 250 with the warming and put it in there for about 15-20 minutes, shut it down for 15-20 minutes, turn it back on, shut it down, turn it on until you might see 1 or 2 bursts, pull it out at that point, put it on something cool, let it cool down, and then when they're completely cold, then you can transfer them into your other container that you want to store them in and utilize them whenever you want. Don't throw away the oil, use that oil.
What do you use the oil?
You can use it for a vinaigrette. You can use it for sautéing foods. You can use it as a flavoring agent. If you want to like do a tomato soup, use that oil, or just use that oil to cook with. Use it to flavor with.